What is installation art? Because the word install implies to put something inside of something else, installation art is a phrase that is commonly used to describe artwork that is located in three-dimensional interior space. It is frequently site-specific, meant to have a special architectural, conceptual, or social interaction with its physical surroundings, whether temporary or permanent. It also establishes a high level of intimacy between itself and the observer since it lives as a presence inside the entire context of its container, whether that is a building, museum, or dedicated space, rather than as a valuable thing to be passively glanced at. Artworks are supposed to generate an atmosphere or a sensation, and as such, they require the viewer's participation. The concepts underlying an installation piece, as well as the reactions it inspires, are sometimes more essential than the medium's quality or technical worth. Artists embrace this genre because it has the ability to change the art world by shocking and engaging audiences in unexpected ways. Installation art supports refocusing attention away from what art visibly portrays and onto what it says. The artist's goal is to influence the viewer's subjective perspective. The works in this movement resonate with our own human experiences since they, like us, live in their surroundings and are always in communication with them. Installation artists are interested with making art a less isolated notion, by exhibiting work outside of galleries and museums and including more utilitarian elements such as found objects, industrial and daily goods, ubiquitous materials, and popular technology. This trend has extended the definition of what constitutes art. Installation art is particularly difficult to collect and sell. Therefore, this movement opposes the commercialization of art by rejecting the established systems that define the worth of artworks. Attempts to resell installations have prompted concerns regarding the process of dismantling and reinstalling work created for a specific area, and whether or not this reduces the original significance and value. It's also sparked debate in the art and archive worlds over whether a transient item can be restored and marketed as its original, or whether a non-permanent piece can be replicated indefinitely to ensure its survival. Installation art in 8 masterpieces. The Dinner Party, an installation piece that has become a feminist art landmark, consists of a big triangular table dressed up as a formal dinner with 39 place settings, each commemorating a significant woman. Embroidered runners, gold dining utensils, and porcelain plates that brazenly mimic the female vulva and change in theme depending on the recipient are all included in each setting. On the white floor under the banquet table, the names of 999 ladies are engraved in gold. The artist sparked discussion about these women who had been underdocumented in history by creating this emulation of an event that audience members could easily relate to, the honorary dinner, and by designing the piece in a triangular fashion that would promote many people walking around and reviewing the place settings at the same time. The artist erected over 300 TV screens in the shape of a map of the United States, highlighted each state with brilliant neon lights, and played video snippets suggestive of the state it symbolizes for this project. The piece, which is 40 feet long and 15 feet tall, is a mammoth record of America's physical and cultural features. Aside from clearly defining each state, the neon outlines also signified the growing network of interstate roads that were uniting the country economically and culturally. The combination of voices, light, and information that constituted a loud monument to how the arrival of media utterly impacted American life was an overpowering experience for many who encountered this gigantic artwork. The installation was the product of 4 bedridden, depressed days during which Emin gathered detritus such as used condoms, blood-stained underwear, and empty bottles around her bed. Some have called the sculpture, which the artist created after a tragic marital breakup, self-absorbed and deluded, while others have called it significant and inspirational. Emin furthered the development of the movement's focus with presenting a more personal experience to the audience by showing her own bed as art. Audience members may either recoil in horror at the spectacle of personal decadence or retreat guiltily inward, knowing that we all have our own dirty laundry to deal with. The lights went on and off in a recurrent pattern, with an empty room being lighted for 5 seconds and then dimmed for the next 5 seconds. This subtle manipulation of the room's lighting, which we all do on a regular basis in our own homes, may drive spectators to rethink components of their daily lives that they take for granted. The artist wanted to jar viewers' preconceptions by focusing entirely on light in this simple painting. Audiences were obliged to interact more closely with the physicality of the space when they encountered its animation. Yayoi Kusama's obliteration room began as a plain room, one that was otherwise unremarkable except for the fact that it was totally covered in white paint. Audience members were given a sheet of colored stickers tailored to the artist's specifications, and were then asked to apply the stickers wherever they wanted in the room's blank canvas. Over time, the surfaces were changed into a riot of color, with thousands of conglomerated patches strewn across every conceivable surface. Kusama was cautious to select a household setting that would be familiar to audiences, allowing participants, particularly youngsters, to freely engage with the piece. The piece was her method of interacting with the surface of an architectural space while also giving over some of the creative process to the audience, allowing them to participate completely in the evolution of this dotted interior. This dynamic project pushed the tradition of active spectator interaction in installation art to the next level by allowing them to actively co-create the work. It also allowed people to get completely absorbed in an experience that influenced all of their senses while remaining faithful to the artist's unique voice. The Matter of Time is an installation that includes one of Sarah's older sculptures, Snake, as well as 8 new, torqued steel pieces. In the Guggenheim Bilbao Museo, it takes up the full gallery space. The aged metal formations range from simple elliptical shapes to more intricate spiral patterns, and viewers go through varied steel pathways as they stroll through them. The areas between the curving metal sheets fluctuate from small and encroaching to broad and open, giving continual confusion to the observer. With its mottled rust and spectrum of browns and oranges, Sarah's choice of material lends even another dimension of visual intrigue to this magnificent piece. The Tate's Turbine Hall had a spiraling fracture in the floor that was both subtle and immensely intriguing. The Colombian artist carved a crack in the museum's floor of varied widths and inserted a concrete cast of rock with a wire fence within. The fissure is 548 feet long, with a depth that ranges from a small aperture to a huge cavern. The rift in Salcedo's work is intended to depict the immigrant experience in Europe. Shibboleth, the title of the work, is a word, phrase, or habit that may be used to identify if someone actually belongs to a group or area. This site-specific sculpture engages viewers by requiring them to approach the crack up close and then alter their distance as they face its variations, giving them an experience that evokes ideas of limits, discomfort, and safety, as is typical of installation art. Rain Room is a room that is completely filled with rain. Visitors stood on the edge, barely illuminated from above, to take in the replication of a natural phenomena. As visitors entered the downpour, their body heat caused the rain to halt solely in the areas where they were. It was designed to provide a calm break from regular life and to prompt sensory meditation on man's connection with nature. It also gave spectators the option of controlling the rain. The play was intended to raise questions about the human experience in a machine-driven environment. To go further, look at the links in the description. You will find a selection of the most relevant books on the subject and a link to our Google Art and Culture gallery with a selection of works. Art Theory is an initiative to demystify the art world and its history. Each week, a new episode of a series of informative videos will be put online. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe and activate the bell.